In the grand scope of the universe, there are three things you never, under any circumstances, want to provoke: black holes, antimatter explosions, and a mother searching for her child. Unfortunately for a few alien civilizations, they were about to get a first-hand lesson on why that's true. Commander Samantha Brooks, Sam to her friends, and that terrifying human woman to her enemies, was enjoying what had started as a perfectly typical Thursday morning. She sat in her favorite armchair in their cozy New Earth colony apartment, savoring her perfectly brewed coffee when the call came through. "Commander Brooks, this is Principal Bradley Mason from Starbridge Academy. There's been an incident during the field trip to Center Station." The coffee cup froze in midair, halfway to her lips. What kind of incident? Her voice was calm, but something in the room seemed to grow colder, despite the environmental controls. "Well, we can't seem to locate your son Ethan's group. They appear to have strayed from their designated tour area." The coffee cup made a soft clink as Sam set it down with a slow, deliberate motion, the kind that always precedes an explosion. "Principal Mason, are you telling me you lost my 16-year-old son on a space station the size of Manhattan?" "Not lost, exactly. Just temporarily misplaced. Security's already—" "How long?" Sam's voice, now sharp and controlled, cut him off. It was the same tone she once used to convince a Thalravian warfleet to surrender without firing a single shot. "About 6 hours." A silence hung in the air, stretching exactly 3 seconds, a quiet pause before an inevitable storm. Anyone who knew Sam could feel the tension in the air. This was the calm before the storm. 6 hours, she repeated. She stood up, already reaching for her old command uniform. "And you're only calling me now?" "We wanted to ensure a thorough search before causing any unnecessary—" "Principal Mason, I'm going to stop you right there." Sam could already feel her blood pressure rising to dangerous levels, and the thought of it violating interstellar weapon protocols barely even crossed her mind. "I can feel my blood pressure rising to levels that might violate several interstellar weapon conventions." With a quick swipe, she pulled up her military contacts on her comm unit. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to send me every scrap of data about Ethan's last known location, the station security feeds, and the names of everyone he was with. Then, you're going to contact station security and tell them that Commander Brooks is coming. They'll know what that means." "Commander, please. There are diplomatic protocols." Sam let out a laugh, one that would have made even the hardest space pirate reconsider their entire life. "I haven't even started violating diplomatic protocols yet." As she suited up in her old command armor, memories of past battles, won wars, and peace treaties flooded her mind. But this wasn't about protecting Earth's interests or keeping galactic stability. This was about her son, Ethan, her boy. The same one who couldn't remember to make his bed, but could rattle off the entire history of human space exploration. The one who complained about quantum physics homework, but helped the alien kid next door learn English. He had her smile and his father's curiosity about everything. The suit powered up with a familiar hum, and Sam felt her combat instincts click back into place. But as the tactical systems came online, a different, more primal instinct began to take over. One that had been coded into human DNA long before they ever reached the stars. "Brooks to orbital command," she spoke into her comm unit, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had not only read the regulations, but had helped write them. "I'm activating emergency protocol M1C. M1C? The operator sounded confused. "I don't see that in the standard missing child protocol." "The M stands for missing child," Sam replied, her tone deadly calm. "And if you check under subsection, never piss off a mother, you'll find all the authorization you need." As she marched toward her personal shuttle, Sam mentally ticked off the favors she was about to call in. The retirement party she'd thrown for Admiral Clayton Hayes last year was about to pay off. And that ambassador from Caloxian still owed her for the incident with the misplaced quantum torpedo. "Hang on, baby," she whispered, her fingers flying over the shuttle startup sequence. "Mom's coming, and may whatever gods these aliens believe in help anyone who stands in my way." The engines roared to life, and that sound would soon become familiar to several star systems. Because while the galaxy was vast and filled with wonders, it was about to learn one very important lesson. Never, ever come between a human mother and her child, especially not one who happens to have battlecruiser command codes and a very particular set of skills that make her a nightmare for bureaucrats across 3 sectors of space. It took exactly 15 minutes for Sam to reach orbital command, and another 5 for her to make the station's security chief regret every decision that led him to this moment. "What do you mean you can't access the station security feeds?" Sam's voice could have frozen helium. "I thought Centaur Station was part of the galactic security network." The towering Zenith security chief, Kach, shifted nervously, his 4 arms twitching. "Well, technically yes, but there's been a slight administrative oversight." "Administrative oversight," Sam repeated, her smile growing. One of those smiles that made even the hardest beings reconsider their life choices. Warriors always check their life insurance policies, don't they? Let me guess. Someone neglected to file Form X227B in triplicate, and now we're unable to access vital security data because some bureaucrat in Sector 9 skipped their afternoon snack break. Actually, it was Form X228C, and the issue was in Sector 7. Cass trailed off, realizing that wasn't exactly helping his case. Sam pulled out her personal comm unit. "All right, time to call in some favors. And Cass, you might want to step back a little. This is about to get diplomatic." 3 calls, 2 barely veiled threats, and 1 very firm promise to never mention the Relian Embassy's holiday party incident again, and Sam had what she needed. The security feeds showed Ethan and his classmates heading toward the station's xenobiology museum. But then, just as mysteriously as it had started, the feeds went dark for exactly 7 minutes. When they came back online, the students had vanished. "Well, isn't that just perfect?" Sam muttered, already pulling up the station's maintenance schedules. "Hey, Cass, want to explain why the only security blackout in 6 months happens right when my son disappears?" Cass's skin shifted from its usual blue to an unnervingly pale lavender. "That's quite the coincidence." "Honey," Sam replied, her voice clipped and steady, "I stopped believing in coincidences the day I stopped believing in the Tooth Fairy." Sam's boots clicked sharply as she started striding toward the station's security office, her movements deliberate. "Now tell me, who has access to the security systems, and how many of them do I need to scare into cooperation?" It turned out the answer was 3. The first was a maintenance worker who had been paid off to turn a blind eye during a routine systems update. The second was a dock worker who'd seen an unmarked transport ship leave shortly after the blackout. The third was a customs official who'd somehow managed to acquire a new, very expensive hover car on a government salary. In precisely 12 minutes, Sam had everything she needed. She hadn't even needed to use the legendary Brooks death stare, the one that had once caused an entire pirate fleet to surrender without a single shot being fired. "You're telling me," Sam said, leaning over the customs official's desk, "that you saw a suspicious transport ship carrying unregistered life forms, and you didn't think to report it because the paperwork looked mostly in order." The official, an Irethian, with staggeringly poor survival instincts, tried to defend himself. The forms were stamped with an official-looking stamp. Official-looking? Sam raised an eyebrow and picked up one of the forms. "This stamp has a smiling face on it, a smiling face with whiskers." "I thought it was a New Earth design," the official muttered, clearly trying to justify himself. "You humans are always doing quirky things." Sam pinched the bridge of her nose. "Right, because Earth's official diplomatic seal now includes cat emojis." She turned back to him, her smile now cold as ice. "Do you know what I'm going to do now?" The official gulped nervously. "Call station security?" Sam's grin spread wider, almost predatory. "Oh no, sweetheart. I'm calling my old friend, Admiral Clayton Hayes, the one who's been itching for an excuse to audit this sector's customs operations for the last 3 years, and while he's busy with that, I'm going to borrow something." "Borrow what?" "Just a little thing I used to command, the EFS Thunderchild. Gorgeous ship, still has all its weapons systems intact. Funny story, they never actually decommissioned my command codes." The color drained from the official's face. "You can't do that. It's against at least 17 regulations." 17? That's adorable, Sam said, already turning for the door. "By the way, that transport ship you let through, it left an ion trail, a very distinctive one. It leads straight to the Krillith Empire. And guess who's about to pay them a very unfriendly visit? As she walked toward the military dock, Sam activated her old command frequency. This is Commander Brooks to EFS Thunderchild. Initiate startup sequence Alpha 79. Authorization code. The massive battlecruiser hummed to life, its AI recognizing her voice. Welcome back, Commander. Should I prepare the diplomatic protocols? Sam cracked her knuckles as she settled into the familiar command chair. Oh, sweetie, we're way past diplomatic protocols. Set course for the Krillith Empire and warm up the really, really big guns. Mama's got some questions to ask, and I've got a feeling some people are going to be very reluctant to answer them. As the Thunderchild broke orbit, several station officials scrambled to file urgent warnings to the Krillith Empire. But mysteriously, all their communications suffered technical difficulties. Later, an investigation would show that these difficulties had coincided with a series of unauthorized access attempts, originating from Commander Brooks's old security clearance. Just a coincidence, of course. Just like the fact that the Thunderchild's weapon systems were running at 120% efficiency, despite being officially powered down for the last 3 years. The hunt was on, and the galaxy was about to learn why an angry human mother should have been at the top of their threat assessment lists. The Krillith Empire prided itself on bureaucracy. They had forms for everything. Forms to request forms, forms to deny forms, even forms to report the improper filing of forms. Their capital station was a massive structure, like every government building in history had been stacked in zero gravity. Sam hated it immediately. Attention! Unidentified vessel, a bored Varnak voice crackled over the comm. Please submit Form TR-459B for unauthorized approach, Form VS-223A for vessel registration, and Form AX-991C to request permission to submit the previous forms. The Thunderchild's main guns swiveled menacingly. How about we skip the paperwork? Sam's voice was as sweet as honey, but it held an edge of steel. I'm looking for my son, human teenager, about this tall. Probably made at least 3 sarcastic comments in the last hour. Ring any bells? Any inquiries about potentially trafficked sentience must be submitted via Form HT 776D, subsection 12, paragraph. The Varnak voice was abruptly cut off as Sam fired a warning shot, not at the station, of course. She wasn't a monster, but directly at their precious form repository satellite. The satellite's contents scattered into space like confetti. Oh my, Sam said, watching the paper fragments drift away. Well, look at that. Seems like someone forgot to file their proper satellite protection forms. Form PS-887X. If I remember correctly. What a shame. Panic exploded across Krillith communications. Do you have any idea what you've done? Those were the only copies of the W-Series regulatory amendments. Really? All of them? In this advanced digital age? Sam casually examined her nails, her tone dripping with sarcasm. How terribly convenient. Now, about my son. 3 minutes later, Sam was speaking with Grand Administrator Oliver Finch, a Krillith who looked like he had swallowed a filing cabinet and was still trying to digest it. Commander Brooks, Finch wheezed. This is highly irregular. The proper procedure for locating missing persons requires... Let me stop you right there, Trixie. Sam leaned forward in her command chair, her voice as cold as the steel walls of the Thunderchild. You see those forms floating out there in space? That's what's going to happen to your entire bureaucratic system in about 10 minutes if you don't start giving me answers. Are you threatening the Krillith Empire? Finch gasped, sounding offended. No, Sam cut him off sharply. I'm a mother looking for her child, and right now, my ship's sensors are picking up traces of the same ion trail that led me here. Funny thing about ion trails, they can tell you a lot about a ship's cargo, like whether it's carrying multiple teenage life forms. Finch's face shifted to an unpleasant shade of chartreuse. That information is classified under section... Wrong answer. Sam's fingers glided over her console with surgical precision. What's not classified? The fact that your entire administrative subnet is still using a password that hasn't been changed since the Calaxian War. Would be a real shame if someone were to, release all your personal search histories to the public network. You wouldn't dare, Finch stammered. Sam gave a humorless grin. Try me. I once made an entire pirate fleet surrender by threatening to send their browser histories to their mothers. Now, let's talk about that transport ship, shall we? 15 seconds later, CCS was suddenly very cooperative. The transport had passed through their space, but it hadn't stopped. Instead, it had continued on to the Meridian Collective, a so-called neutral zone known for its flexible approach to interstellar law. See? That wasn't so hard, was it? Sam smirked as she prepared to jump to light speed. Oh, and Finch, you might want to file Form DC-334Z. Form DC-334Z? What's that for? Damage control, sweetheart, because in about 30 seconds, every single form in your system will be automatically translated into interpretive dance diagrams. Good luck explaining that to the High Council. As the Thunderchild jumped to warp speed, leaving behind chaos in the form of scattered papers and corrupted bureaucratic data, Sam allowed herself a small, victorious moment. One system down, 2 to go. Computer, set course for the Meridian Collective. Prepare the really big guns again. I've got a feeling we'll need them. Certainly, Commander. May I suggest highway to hell for our arrival? Perfect. Sam smirked, eyes narrowed. Let's see how the Meridian Collective handles a mother who's gone from slightly upset to thoroughly moderately annoyed. Behind them, the Krillith Empire's reputation for impenetrable security crumbled into ruins, taking several thousand credits worth of illegally moonwalking goods with it. The Meridian Collective had a reputation for 3 things: its massive space bazaars, its don't ask, don't tell policy on cargo manifests, and its supposedly impenetrable defense grid. Sam was about to ruin their perfect record on all 3 counts. Attention, unidentified vessel. A smooth voice purred over the comms. Welcome to the Meridian Collective. Please note that all weapons must be powered down before entering our space. This is a peaceful trading zone. A peaceful trading zone? Sam chuckled darkly. That's a funny way to spell Black Market Central. Hey, quick question. How much did they pay you to look the other way when that transport ship came through? Silence. Thought so, Sam muttered with a grin, cracking her neck. Computer, initiate Operation Rock Concert. The opening riffs of Welcome to the Jungle suddenly blasted across all Meridian frequencies, the volume cranked up to levels that would have made Guns N' Roses proud. At the same time, the Thunderchild's weapon systems powered up, each targeting array moving in perfect rhythm to the guitar solo. What is this noise? The Meridian controller's voice was filled with panic. Our systems are malfunctioning. Oh, this? Sam smiled wide. This is Earth culture at its finest. Did you know certain frequencies, when played at the right volume, can interfere with shield harmonics, especially those cheap knockoff shields you folks buy from the Centurion black market? As if on cue, the Meridian Collective's supposedly impenetrable defense grid began flickering, the lights flashing erratically like a strobe light at a rave party. Sam, satisfied with the result, turned the music down just enough to be heard over Axl Rose's screams. Now, about that transport ship, the one carrying stolen children, does that ring any bells, or do I need to start playing some classic AC/DC next? We have no record of any such vessel. The controller's voice pitched higher, a clear sign of panic. Really? Sam raised an eyebrow. Then you won't mind if I take a closer look at that shiny space station of yours, the one that's broadcasting on frequencies typically used for illegal holding cells. Another, deeper voice cut in, sounding more authoritative. This is Station Commander Liam Rayner. You are in violation of 17 different Meridian protocols. Stand down immediately. 17? Sam shook her head, rolling her eyes. That's adorable. You know what else is in violation? Your entire security system. Would be a shame if someone had already hacked it while you were too busy enjoying my excellent taste in music. Commander Rayner sputtered in disbelief. That's impossible. Our systems are currently playing Another One Bites the Dust on every internal speaker. Yeah, that was me. Sam's grin widened. Nice sound system, by the way. Really brings out the bass. The station's lights flickered in time with the music, and security cameras across every screen began performing synchronized pan and zoom movements that looked suspiciously like dance routines. Here's what's going to happen, Sam's voice rang out, effortlessly rising above the chaotic clamor. the iconic bass line of Queen's Another One Bites. The dust boomed, filling every corner of the station. You're going to tell me where that transport went, or I'll start uploading Earth's entire disco collection to your mainframe. And trust me, no one wants to hear YMCA on an infinite loop. You're bluffing, Rayner challenged, clearly unconvinced. The first notes of Staying Alive echoed through the station's life support system. Sam didn't even flinch. Still think I'm bluffing? Sam's fingers hovered over her console, the threat clear in her tone. Because I've got Never Gonna Give You Up queued up next. The response came instantly. The transport, it went to the Crimson Dominion. They're the ones who ordered the kids. Something about new recruits for their academy. See? That wasn't so hard, Sam said, satisfaction creeping into her voice as she powered up her engines. Oh, and Rayner, you might want to evacuate Sub-Level 3. Why? Rayner's voice was tight with suspicion. Because I might have reprogrammed your cleaning robots, Sam replied sweetly, her eyes glinting with mischief. They're currently having a breakdown competition in the contraband storage area. Those spinning moves can be quite destructive. As the Thunderchild prepared to jump to light speed, Sam could hear the ensuing chaos behind her. The station's AI had apparently developed a newfound taste for Earth music and was refusing to play anything other than the greatest hits from the 1980s. Computer, set course for the Crimson Dominion and keep the playlist ready, Sam said, her fingers tapping rhythmically against her chair. Something tells me we'll need an epic soundtrack for what comes next. Certainly, Commander. May I suggest Highway to Hell for our arrival? Perfect. Sam smirked, eyes narrowed. Let's see how the Crimson Dominion handles a mother who's gone from slightly upset to thoroughly moderately annoyed. Behind them, the Meridian Collective's reputation for impenetrable security crumbled into ruins, taking several thousand credits worth of illegally moonwalking goods with it. The Crimson Dominion, as it should be, was a massive red nebula housing one of the most notorious criminal empires across 3 sectors. Their main base, carved into an asteroid the size of Earth's moon, was bristling with enough firepower to trigger an intergalactic war. Sam was about to start a big one. Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted space, a gravelly voice demanded over the comms. Identify yourself or be destroyed. Oh, sweetie. Sam's voice was smooth and casual, as if she were speaking to a child. I'm about to identify myself all over your defense systems. But first, let's talk about your recent recruitment drive. I don't know what you're talking about. Computer, play the message. Ethan's voice suddenly filled the command center, a recording from his last school transmission. Hey, Mom, the field trip's going great, though some weird guys in red uniforms keep watching us. They have this symbol that looks like a burning crown or something. The silence on the other end was deafening. That's right, Sam continued, her voice sweet as syrup but with an icy edge. You kidnapped my kid, the kid of the woman who once made an entire space pirate fleet surrender by threatening to call their mothers. I'm not sure if that was brilliant or suicidal, but I'm leaning toward the latter. Suddenly, alarms erupted across the asteroid base. Dozens of ships began launching from their hangars. Really? Sam sighed dramatically. We're doing this the hard way, huh? Computer, initiate Operation Boy Band. Before the Crimson Fleet could even begin to form up, every ship's communication system was hijacked, blasting synchronized dancing instructions for NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. Fun fact about Crimson Dominion ships, Sam announced as pure chaos erupted. They all use the same navigation frequency. Another fun fact? That frequency happens to match perfectly with the baseline of late 20th century pop music. The enemy fleet, once a formidable formation, disintegrated into pure confusion as their ships began moving in perfect choreography to the beat, their weapon systems pulsing in time with the music. Commander, her computer chirped, I'm detecting multiple life signs in the base's lower levels. Several match human teenage biosignatures. Excellent. Sam cracked her knuckles. Time for the grand finale. Load up Operation Soccer Mom. The Thunderchild's main guns swiveled into position, but instead of unleashing destructive energy bolts, thousands of tiny robots were deployed, each one programmed with a single mission: find and protect the children while playing the most annoying songs from Earth's history. What are those things? The Crimson Commander's voice had lost all confidence. Those? Sam grinned. Just some modified cleaning bots. They're particularly fond of Baby Shark on repeat at maximum volume. They're also programmed with every embarrassing story every mother has ever told about their child. Would you like to hear what your mom said about your wedding problem? Commander Finch, how do you know my name? How do you— A mother knows everything, darling. By the way, your mom says you never call anymore. The asteroid's internal communications exploded into total chaos as the robots went to work. Security doors opened and closed to the rhythm of Macarena. The life support system hummed All-Star by Smash Mouth. And in the middle of it all, a group of very confused but unharmed teenagers was being escorted to the main hangar by robots, singing I Will Always Love You in perfect harmony. Mom, Ethan's voice crackled over the comms. Is that you causing all this chaos? Hi, sweetie, Sam said warmly. How was your field trip? Mom, there are robots having a dance-off with the guards. Yes, dear, Sam responded without missing a beat. They're very enthusiastic about their choreography. Now stay with the nice robots while Mommy finishes talking to the people who thought kidnapping you was a good idea. Turning back to the main channel, Sam addressed the now panicked Crimson Command. So, here's what's going to happen, she began, her voice steady and precise. You're going to surrender, release all the children, and then we're going to have a lovely chat about your life choices. Or I'll start uploading your embarrassing childhood photos to the galactic network. You're bluffing! There's no way you have— A hologram flickered to life across the asteroid surface, showing a young Finch in footy pajamas, clutching a stuffed Earth kitten. The surrender was immediate and unconditional. The children were safely evacuated, and various galactic authorities began arriving to clean up the mess. Ethan approached his mother's command chair. Mom, did you really conquer 3 star systems just to find me? Conquer? Oh no, sweetie. Sam pulled her son into a warm hug, a smile curling at the corners of her lips. But I did make sure the people who took you knew exactly who they were dealing with. I just had a few firmly worded conversations about proper childcare protocols, Sam said with a mischievous smile. Speaking of which, she turned to her computer. Are the robots still broadcasting those embarrassing childhood stories throughout the Crimson Dominion's command structure? Yes, Commander, the computer responded, its voice neutral. They're currently on the story about Commander Finch's first attempt at space ballet. Perfect, Sam said, turning back to Ethan, who was fiddling with his dinner. Now, young man, we need to talk about wandering off during field trips. But Mom, we were kidnapped, Ethan protested. Yes, and that's exactly why the kidnappers are currently listening to It's a Small World on an Infinite Loop, Sam replied, eyes twinkling with amusement. But you still should have been more careful. Now, how about we head home? I think we've had enough excitement for one day. As the Thunderchild set its course for Earth, 3 star systems were left to pick up the pieces of a slightly upset mother's search for her child. The Krillith Empire was still trying to rebuild their bureaucratic systems, though now all their forms included a Hug Your Mother checkbox. The Meridian Collective's security robots had formed a dance troupe and were touring the sector and the Crimson Dominion. Well, they were busy implementing new regulations about never messing with human children, especially if their mothers had command codes to battle cruisers and a complete knowledge of Earth's most annoying songs. Just another day in the life of a spacefaring soccer mom. News of Commander Samantha Brooks's maternal rampage spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Footage of heavily armed criminals surrendering while doing the Macarena went viral on the galactic network, racking up billions of views and spawning countless memes. Back on Earth, Sam sat in a meeting with the Galactic Security Council, sipping coffee from her world's most dangerous mum mug. A thoughtful gift from Ethan that morning. Commander Brooks, Admiral Clayton Hayes began, fighting to hide the grin tugging at his lips. While we appreciate your innovative approach to interstellar diplomacy, we do have concerns about your methods. Sam raised a single eyebrow. Which methods, exactly? The part where I made the Krillith Empire's entire bureaucracy speak in rhyming couplets? Or the part where I turned the most feared criminal organization in the sector into a viral dance sensation? Well, actually all of it, the Admiral replied, his attempt to remain serious faltering. Although I must admit the synchronized robot performance of Thriller was impressive. The robots did have excellent timing, Sam agreed with a small nod. They're currently on tour, you know. Sold-out shows across 3 sectors. A Caloxian representative cleared their throat, drawing everyone's attention back to business. The issue, Commander, is that your actions have had some unexpected consequences. Really? Sam took another leisurely sip of coffee, her tone casual. What kind of consequences are we talking about? Well, the representative continued, we've received 17 formal requests from various species asking about implementing what they're calling the Human Mother Protocol into their defense systems. The Xenoniths want to know if they can license your playlist for their military training programs, the representative added, his voice steadily growing more incredulous. And the Krillith, well, they're still dealing with their forms randomly bursting into song, but they've reported a 300% increase in administrative efficiency. Don't forget about the Crimson Dominion's reform program, another council member chimed in. They've converted their entire base into a performing arts school. Commander Finch is teaching interpretive dance. Sam shrugged nonchalantly. Sometimes, people just need a little nudge in the right direction. Gentle? The Admiral choked, clearly stunned. You threatened to upload their baby pictures to the galactic network, and look how well that worked out. Crime rates are down, diplomatic relations have improved, and now there's a lot more dancing. I call that a win. Just then, Ethan poked his head into the room. Mom, my friend Zix from the Meridian Collective is asking if you can help find their missing pet. Apparently, it's a quantum phase spider that exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The council members collectively held their breath, exchanging nervous glances. Tell them I'll be right there, sweetie. Sam stood up, straightening her uniform with a decisive motion. Just let me grab my playlist and the really big guns. Commander, the Admiral called after her. Please try not to conquer any more star systems. Of course not, sir. Sam's smile was all innocence. I'm just going to have a nice, calm chat with anyone who might have seen a multi-dimensional spider, although you might want to warn the Sirius sector about a possible outbreak of spontaneous karaoke. As Sam walked out of the chamber, the council members could hear her humming, We Will Rock You. Somewhere in the galaxy, several criminal organizations suddenly felt an overwhelming urge to call their mothers. Back home, Sam and Ethan sat on their balcony, watching the sunset over New Earth Colony. The Thunderchild floated above, its really big guns gleaming in the starlight. Hey, Mom, Ethan asked, still chewing on his dinner. Do you think anyone will ever try kidnapping kids from a field trip again? Sam glanced at the latest reports of criminal empires voluntarily surrendering after receiving holiday cards from their mothers, and smiled. Well, sweetie, let's just say that don't mess with human moms has become the galaxy's newest prime directive. And the dancing robots, Ethan added with a grin. They just signed a record deal. Apparently their cover of Space Oddity is topping the charts in the Romita galaxy. As night fell, a new message appeared on all major galactic frequencies. Remember to call your mother. She knows what you did. She has access to the really big guns. Just another quiet evening in a galaxy that had learned a valuable lesson in space. Everyone can hear you scream, especially if your mom is making you clean your room across 3 dimensions. Somewhere in a reformed criminal base turned performing arts school, Commander Finch was finally perfecting his space ballet routine, while his mother watched proudly from the front row.